gaze of a Mississippi queen. I was only looking for a love, bathing in the flicker of a chaotic energy. Kinda lonely when all you want is just approval from something so muddy and so deep. Da 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 da. And nothing ever felt the same. No safety for my name inside any other's mouth, and so we floated. Dum dum da da dum, dum dum da 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 da. And river's not sorry, she's deep. She's running a road that she's meant to be running. Taking you down to your knees. She told you to sing it, but you're only humming. River's baptism is free, so long as you're breathing. The water you washed in, the water you washed in, water you washed in, water you. Makes me wonder what I was so weary of, so tired of who I was or who I thought I had to be. And don't it make you laugh through a nervous pause when you're silent just because you don't feel wise enough to speak? But it's not her fault, you're not who you want to be. Yeah, you're singing harmony because you don't think you're good enough to lead. And river's not sorry, she's deep. She's running a road that she's meant to be running. Taking you down to your knees. She told you to sing it, but you're only humming. River's baptism is free, so long as you're breathing. The water you washed in, the water you washed in, water you washed in, water you. Little ripple growing loud, hear my sound, hear my sound. Ooh, little ripple growing loud, hear my sound, hear my sound. Ooh, little ripple growing loud, hear my sound, hear my sound. And river's not sorry, she's deep. She's running a road that she's meant to be running. Taking you down to your knees. She told you to sing it, but you're only humming. River's baptism is free, so long as you're breathing. The water you washed in, water you washed in, water you washed in, water you. River's not sorry, she's deep. She's running a road she's meant to be running.
Don't you do it. It's over. It's time. Woo, yes, girl. So if everything went according to plan, we are live on Jacob V Weekly, and you just heard from Caroline and Buddy, who came in here last week to record a session. They did 2 of Buddy's songs and 2 of Caroline's. You've met them on this show before, but they're one of our first official musical guests. So we've worked out the kinks in our 2-week hiatus since we had the Defeated County in here, and we replayed some of the broadcasts we did with them for NPR. But Joe, hi. We're going to talk about why we missed last week. I'm not right this second, but we are going to talk about it because I know we're an episode behind, and I'd love to make that up. And I think we made it up in content we recorded that we're producing for our mediums. But good God, it's good to be back. First thing, I want to start off and just get this up front. I've been, we've been talking about the last in our break in the last 2 weeks, the trending hashtag Stop Asian Hate, which is sort of a bad hashtag on its own, but emerges from an absolute crisis that I totally support speaking out against. We're talking about 8 Asian women that were murdered by a white guy across 3 salons. Oh no, 6 Asian women, 1 white woman, and 1 white guy, I think. Recently, and then as I was typing this to prep for the show, we had another mass shooting in a mall in Colorado. So something I just wanted to draw attention to and address that it's not something that we're ignoring, and that I didn't want to bury it in the show prep, and it's just it's something that we were kind of going to talk about adjacently anyway. I don't know. I think as a kid of the 90s, I feel really dumb for being so upset recently about coronavirus and teachers being in schools, because they sent us as students into schools after Columbine, and I didn't really change my experience at all to my knowledge. So I didn't want to forget that. We have lots of our own drama with the show that we're about to talk about, but I did want to address that. Obviously, when you have a targeted sort of random act of violence like that, it's kind of funny that we don't talk about each of them more in depth, because they're all so upsetting, but it happens so much more often than it used to. So I don't know. I didn't want to let myself get on with what we're going to get on with without addressing that. Joe, any reactions to any of that stuff before I move on to pressing matters at hand?
Yeah, it's pretty sad. It's kind of weird how it all.
I know what you're going to say. I thought you were going to say, it's bad.
It's bad, I just don't understand where it all. I don't understand. It feels like this, flash mob of white dudes just get together and they're just like, all right, who are we going to pick on? And they're
yeah,
killing somebody.
That's what caught me off guard with this one is I don't hear a lot about racism against Asians, but apparently from what I'm hearing is it's a increasing issue.
So no, it doesn't help when they make their own restaurants racial slurs for themselves. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that, it's like the one racial slur you can use against an Asian person. They name their own restaurants that,
I'm afraid to ask for an example.
Yeah, I can't say it's worse than the N-word.
So yeah, please don't say it. Certainly don't say it. I know I'm not even comfortable with you saying the phrase the N-word.
N-word, yeah.
Because that makes me think that you're thinking it.
I'm not even thinking it.
You better not be fucking thinking it, you rat bastard.
Yeah, it's kind of a Zen thing. I don't have to think of the word. I just think of the N-word.
And after addressing racial tensions that are obviously out of control in this great world of ours, I do have to address a totally unrelated issue, and it has to do with some goddamn Nigerians. The reason we missed our episode last week, not only is my career in shambles and it's a fucking nightmare, and it's hard for me to even have energy to come all the way home to go to sleep just to go do it again every fucking day. Now my Facebook got stolen by Nigerian hackers. They stole over $900 out of my bank account. And they're still using my Facebook pretending to be me, and they're trying to sell people puppies now, apparently. And they want to give away, they want to put $1,500 in your Cash App. It's a goddamn nightmare.
It's so hilarious.
It's not funny to me. I noticed, so here's how I know they're Nigerian hackers. They could be from anywhere. But I noticed someone was logged in on my Facebook account on an iPhone XR in Lagos, Nigeria. So we're packing a bag and we're going to Nigeria to split some wigs. We're going to pull up and I'm just going to start interrogating people like Liam Neeson until I get my Facebook password back. Because while I was trying to figure out why someone was logged into my Facebook, they kicked me out. And then while I was trying to reset my password, they changed my primary email address and my account phone number. Luckily, they didn't get into anything pertaining to my Gmail because it was my piece of shit Yahoo email used with my Facebook. So that's probably how this all happened in the first place. But So it's a nightmare. And at the time, it felt like my empire was crumbling beneath me because that Facebook account has admin access to all my music pages, which has made me so much money over the years. So
How
I'm
much?
bummed out.
How much money has it made you over the years?
Nothing. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
It doesn't really fucking matter. But I had like 3,000 friends on Facebook, and it was a huge draw for our audience for this show. And we're talking about launching a Patreon this summer and things like that. Now I feel weird going on Facebook and saying to my friends and family, hey, if you want to support us for $5 a month, because I literally have a Nigerian hacker using my old Facebook to try to get people to give him money. And it's driving me nuts. He even told my friend Nathan he's holding my account for a $500 ransom. But that's just a ruse. He wants someone to give him $500, and he's not going to give anybody anything. That's why I haven't given him any money.
Right.
Oh, I'm so pissed I could spit.
Yeah.
I had the account pulled. I talked to a cybersecurity professional, and with my former account, being the way it is, we kind of have to just scorch it. We just have to write it off as a loss, but we have to get taken down again. It's not a big enough problem that anyone at Facebook has actually looked at it. It's something the algorithms have been handling, so it's not like it's that big of a deal. I don't have any finances with Facebook. You know what I mean? It's not a active business account. If you're on Facebook and you listen to this show, please feel free to share us on your timeline because our Facebook hits are going to be limited while we try to rebuild 16 years of people I met at bars and then sent friend requests to in the bathroom. So this show is bigger than Facebook, I hope. But I feel disgusting. I feel like someone is wearing me like a skin suit and stealing pennies from old people. I really hope they're from Nigeria. I hope it's like the next Captain Phillips. Like, remember the Somalian pirates? You were a little younger than me. You were probably in 5th grade or something, but it was like 2008-ish, and I was in high school planning my next adventure. And in the news, we had literal pirates, and we wanted to hunt them. We wanted to buy a boat and some tear gas and go hunt pirates. I wanted to take the summer after high school off, and I wanted to go to Somalia and hunt me some pirates. But they kidnapped a U.S. citizen, and according to South Park, we just shot them all in the face. And they were it turns out they were like young dudes who were unemployed and starving. And so it didn't seem so fun to hunt them anymore once we kind of killed a bunch of them.
Once we realized we were the villains in their Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, you're not supposed to be a pirate, but we're also going to come kill you with our army.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they literally shot him right in the face. So I'm glad I didn't do that. And so we have to be sensitive. We have to make sure people know that this is just, I think, one Nigerian hacker that has stolen my Facebook account. It is not all of the nation of Nigeria. If it comes out, though, that Nigeria is waging cyber war on the U.S., that would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, he has your account, and, you have to look back. He wishes he was you, like, he's like, this guy has so many friends, and he's got so much cool stuff, I think that's something to, like, that somebody did want your identity. It's something to be really proud of.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He's a cool guy.
I mean, the job market right now, it sucks. Job market is ugly.
Indeed.
Great. I had an interview for a job I really wanted until they told me the salary range, and I figured out it'd be like a 35% pay cut from what I do right now. And people are so brainwashed when it comes to this stuff that they make you feel like an asshole for being upset about something like that. Like, let me list some things that make sense to me that are apparently radical socialist beliefs, according to all the people I'm apparently missing out on contacting on Facebook. For example, I don't think I know anybody that is worth less than like $40,000 a year. I mean, if you make $15 an hour and you work 40 hours a week, that's like 36 or like 35, maybe something like that. I did the math the other day. A salary of any size should represent a finite number of hours. I don't think a salary entitles somebody to expect 80 hours of work out of you, unless that's pre-agreed that way, right? I don't think that's too crazy to expect. And I think if you make one salary and work 60 or 70 or 80 hours, you're actually doing two jobs for the price of one, and that should probably be adjusted for your benefit. Sorry, call me crazy. Am I crazy? Am I some kind of idealist? Like what I'm hearing is like a lot of people share this frustration about what they think like normal is. And maybe it is normal, but in 2021, like with a degree and a certificate and 8 years of experience in my field, I feel like I'm worth more than 66% of what I'm actually already making. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they really should. Like, we have so much hate pointed at the Asians, and they really should be.
Asians?
It really should be pointed at the boomers. I feel like there's not enough boomer racism. I mean, there's plenty of boomer racism, but there's not enough boomer prejudice.
The boomers have plenty of prejudice.
Yes, but we need more prejudice against
there's not
them.
enough open set. Well, I'm not calling for prejudice against anybody. But I do see your point that like we're dealing with this crisis where people are attacking like ethnic minority groups, and maybe we should be targeting like class minority groups, like people that are exploiting their privileges.
Yeah, for sure.
But how does that fix my job crisis?
I don't know.
And you and me were talking about this the other day. You said something that was very interesting that I wanted you to bring up on the show. You were talking about how you feel like the only time you can really do your job as well as you feel like it's expected that you do it is you have to compromise some aspect of your health, is exactly how you put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Tell me about that.
I mean, the only way to, like, really, like, do the job that everybody, you know, the dream job to get everything done right, you're on your own in every job you're in. And so you have to, like, battle... I mean, everything's a hustle, and I was talking to I met a lot of people with a lot of different jobs recently, and just the hustling that they have to do at their own job. Like this guy who works at Northwest Mutual, and like I was just so surprised. You know, you have to like live. You know, you got to park a mile away for parking, and like. He's like, yeah, that's how I started, and it's just, you know, I was living in an apartment, I was barely affording it, and I was like, and I'm like, yeah, but that's not right. Like, that's not. I know that there's some sort of American dream there.
That's
but
a
like,
thing. That's a thing that is common. Is people feel like just because they experience something, that it should be okay for other people to struggle that way. And I totally think that there's a certain amount of struggle or developing independence that's a part of a rite of a passage, right? But I don't think it means that people should have to fight tooth and nail to pay their bills for a couple years just to be a part of this system. Like, yeah. I mean, I think there's safer ways to do that. Like, you learn a lot when you have kids really young, or you are thrust into some situation you're not ready for. You learn a lot of stuff, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the best way to do that.
Yeah, like you learn a lot from the imperfections of life, but it's like at the same time, I don't think people should be questioning their worth quite as much as they are. And I don't think people should be like, you know, I don't think you should be useless until proven useful in America. Like, you should be, you know, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of pointless. People think that we're a flawless system that's been working well for so long. And it's like, no, there's a lot of advertising on the people that it has worked for. It's the only reason.
Yeah, and that seems to be so much of what we value. We love the rare example of people that have been super, super successful. Like, we act like, oh, see how, look at, well, like other countries, they value like education or professional experience or accomplishments, or, you know, whereas we value more like charisma and luck and like rags to riches.
That's kind of what I would get into it, but, you know, that's kind of what my professor and I were talking about recently, is that in America, we love the prodigies. We love like Good Will Hunting. Like, we love having no explanation for success. Yeah. Like, we value that more than hard work. We love like, he just came out of nowhere, and it's like magic, you know, and it's like, that's not good. And because of that, we have way too many reward systems. Like, award shows in America are a huge thing, but the reason other countries like India are so good in like academics, especially math, is because they actually reward the hard work, and they don't like, so in America you could have like some, you know, middle class dad, and you come back with an A, and he's like, that's all, you know, he's a smart kid, you know. But if like you worked your ass off and you got a C, he's not going to like, at least my dad isn't going to congratulate you quite as hard. Where in another country, it's like according to my professor in other countries, what it's more like is if you got an A and you didn't do any work for that A, they're more critical about that than they are about the, like, in terms of positivity about the A. Like, they're more like, yeah, but you didn't do anything, you know? And so, like, I think that's a really important part of how motivation works in America that I think is under discussed. Sorry.
No, you're doing great. Hey, speaking of the American dream, Eric fucking Greitens is back in the news. Our friend of the show,
Snorkeling up on a turd.
disgraced former Governor Eric J. Greitens wants to now run for Senate. He was governor for like a week, and then he resigned because he got arrested for some like revenge porn scandal. It's kind of how it was summed up to me. He took like a naked picture on his iPhone of some chick he was banging. Can you say banging? Is that disrespectful?
Fornicating.
Oh my God, that sounds worse.
Yeah.
So we know that Missouri Senator Roy Blunt is finally going to retire, and so his seat is open now. Eric Greitens wants to run for Senate. There are people that have held out this whole time that they want Greitens to be president. There's this group of Missouri GOP people that love Eric Greitens and they think he's the guy. Meanwhile, I've been next to him in a pool. He's a frail, petite gentleman, probably fit for his age. But also, he can unplug a gun blindfolded.
They were unplugging guns at the
or whatever
party.
he does. Remember in his ad for governor, he was like blindfolded. He was putting a rifle together.
Unplugging guns.
Unplugging it. You take the plugs out and you plug them back in. And you say, "Done, Sarge." Or you say, "Time."
Oh, yeah, like the Platoon. The movie
Like in Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. Yeah. That was a good movie.
Did I play you that TikTok about St. Louis High School astrology?
No, is it? No. Where is it? Did you send it to me? Let me- Oh, yeah, look at that. Yeah.
Let me retrieve it.
Atheists be like, I believe in the Big Bang Theory.
Well, I saw this great TikTok that I don't know how to. I haven't prepped. I don't even know if I can play a TikTok on the podcast. I don't want to get yelled at, but basically describing the St. Louis social astrology. He refers to it as the St. Louis high school sort of thing. So if you're not from St. Louis, we have this thing here where everyone wants to ask you where you went to high school all the time, if you're from here. And you may have never heard of this, but we all ask people that. And I think people always think it's about like the schools themselves, or like, oh, you went to that school and had this or whatever. But really, it's like cultural and it's like social,
Class.
political, and classist and racially kind of insensitive. We historically have this thing called the Del Mar Divide, which is like historically, before this kind of stuff was much less legal than it was once upon a time, they wouldn't sell houses to families of color below Del Mar, south of Del Mar. And then so you still have that kind of racial segregation today. And that's a big part of it too. It's like, I always feel like the question is, did your parents love you enough to get you away from the scary, poor brown people? Like, that's what it always sounds like when older, especially older, like, and there's this thing too, where like in the neighborhood I live in, you have affluent white families that stay here and support all these Catholic schools, and it's not because they're like, and it's not that they're not Catholic, but it's also not like they're like the Hasidic Jewish community we have here in town that are really living their faith, and they live in their own community to kind of stay near their place of worship and whatnot. It's not necessarily like that with especially South City, St. Louis Catholics. It's very much like a like you mentioned, like a class focus.
Yeah. Yeah, they're much more
You had a
involved.
weird experience with that. What high school would you have gone to if you went to the high school that was just based on your zip code?
I would have gone to Pattonville. It's a phenomenal institution. Great sports program. Great facility.
And what led your decision to go to where you went?
I just had a hunger for more culture and inner city life, and like I just
What?
really,
What?
yeah.
Well, so how did that conversation take place? You said, "Hey, Dad, I want to go to a performing arts school downtown."
Well, I was reading Malcolm X's autobiography, and
Is this a true story?
I said,
gotta be careful.
Yo, cracker.
No, no,
Can
no,
I-
no, 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 no.
I
Rewind.
want.
Rewind.
I'm paving my own way.
Don't keep doing a voice. Do not keep doing a voice. Oh, I know if Keenan was watching, we just lost her. I know that's the
Click.
exact kind of thing about you that makes her crazy. She'll host Cancel Joe. That'll be her. That'll be her.
What did I
favorite.
say? What did I say? That made
So we don't have to talk about you. We don't have to talk about you or any of. I don't know why. Let me talk to my fucking goofy friend Joe about all these sensitive racial issues. Let's move on.
No, she's mad at me because I brought up J.K. Rowling the way I did. That's where it began. Anyway,
So St. Louis starts on a river, right? We have the Mississippi River, and it expands westward. We call this white flight, this pattern of exponential expansion westward into the various suburbs, which now span several counties. The city part is always getting smaller. The metro area is huge, but legally the city itself is small and kind of dying. It's kind of sad. And people don't even really come here to hang out anymore. You see new restaurants and cool stores and places that we used to just grow corn. Like, Joe, you work at a restaurant that's in a floodplain, but you would never know that that's supposed to be underwater
yeah.
because
Yeah.
they've been putting Dobbs auto tires and fucking what are the stores out there?
It's actually, they have every store. It's very funny. I'm not kidding. They have every
It's kind of on
store.
purpose.
It kind of feels
There's
like
a Red Robin.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they hired QT or 7-Eleven to assemble a town. And, like, I'm pretty sure every boomer that goes to there is like, this is a pretty exploding area. It's pretty exploding, But,
Well,
like, they...
it makes me and my wife mad when we drive through Wentzville and they have a Lion's Choice. I'm like, motherfucker, you don't get to live in a fucking cow field and have a Lion's Choice. I don't understand. Warrenton used to be a day trip. To go to the Warrenton Outlet Mall when I was a kid, it took all day. And we'd have to stop twice on the way there and twice on the way back to pee and to get refreshments.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now people live there and they commute to like
Yeah.
into like civilization where I live to work some days.
All of your
days.
teacher friends.
Where I work now, everyone lives in either the Metro East or Arnold. I'm one of the only people that live in the city.
I want to pull up that statistic, is the statistic of, years of service in inner city, like, high schools, and then, like, every year they just migrate farther and farther out of St. Louis.
Who does? The teachers?
The teachers.
Yeah, it's great. Well, you gotta bring them in because normal successful people don't want to work there.
It's only 30 minutes extra. It's fine.
It's crazy how they justify it too. They're like, bro, I get here in like 47 minutes. I'm like, what? 40? That's 90 minutes out of your fucking day. Forget it. But like we were saying, so we have this massive expansion all kind of centered around the soft, chewy core that is the city that kind of started the explosion. But they've kind of, again, and the way we zone schools here is by zip code. I've talked to teachers at other parts of the country. It's different everywhere. So this has been a way that they've sort of exploited, funneling resources and influence away from, like I mentioned, poor brown
You
people.
can't tell me that, man. That's so fucked up, man.
Isn't
That's
it? It's,
probably why Rochester works so well.
it's probably not set up that same way.
Yeah, 'cause
so
they
this has
didn't
been
have
a
those
key
barriers.
trajectory in my life. Like public school in South City didn't seem viable to my parents when I was young, and I famously got discouraged from pursuing Catholic school after my kindergarten year at St. Mary Magdalene of Pain and Suffering on Kings Highway. And my dad was a suburbanite, so we bounced out. They said, listen, we're fucking 25 years old. This kid is getting kicked out of kindergarten. He can't even do half-day morning kindergarten because he's so fucking weird. Let's go somewhere else. And so we moved away. And then it's been a driving force in my career because moving to the district we ended up in really saved my life. Like if I had stayed in Catholic school, I would have grown up feeling even more deeply outcast and strange than I already did. And we ended up in a place that was really progressive and well-equipped, where some queer, pudgy Hoosier with ADHD could be nurtured. And it worked out. It turns out everyone there was also a sex monster. That's been coming out in the news, and we've talked about that. But I was able to launch into the world and go to college and start working and teaching right away in November. After I graduated, I got my first teaching job. And if I'd stayed anywhere else, I don't know that I would have done any of that. I don't know that I would have gone to college. Who knows what I would have done? I probably would have just done drugs. Can you imagine being as goofy as I must have been and having to go to like Catholic school and being told that I'm a demon?
Yeah, that would have really worked out bad for you, man.
My God.
It's crazy.
I'll quit stopping to check on you. Thank you
I'm
for
just
being
kidding.
here.
I'm just
Thank you
but
for
I'm
being
serious. It's great. It's
here.
crazy.
Did you know that on Sunday it'll be a year that I've been off the booze?
Dude, congratulations, man.
No, it was
But-
this past Sunday.
But you know that's not true though,
What?
because I snuck
you
you some
don't
snuck you some booze once.
Don't slip me a Mickey, whatever you do.
I did. Do you know what I did?
It's been really great. So I think what happened. I've been really reflecting on this. I did Whole30 the month leading up to our first quarantine. So it turns out quarantine started the same week as my spring break last year. It's really when the COVID lockdowns first took effect, was like March 14th, vaguely. And that whole month leading up to that, I've been doing this diet called Whole30. It's like keto and shit, but like fucking, it's like stops after 30 days. It's supposed to be like a cleanse or something. And I did a really great job. I ate super clean for 30 days, and I had all this energy, and I felt really in control. And this included no alcohol for 30 days, which I had done that several times. And the next weekend was going to be March 20th. I got fucking wasted by myself, and then I made myself sick for like 4 straight days. Like, probably gave myself some kind of alcohol poisoning.
Jeez.
And I just haven't been able to drink since then. I did the Whole30, and then getting totally wasted by myself made me so sick after not having any of those poisons in my system that I was just a fucking goner. I haven't had the appetite. I feel like if I get that sick again.
I'm gonna be real, Jake. I never think you were. I never thought you were an alcoholic because.
Do you remember how drunk I was at that?
lot.
Do you remember how drunk I was at that Raconteur show?
No. You could drink a lot. That's not. But I don't think you've never had the personality of being like I need to drink before work and like all that stuff. I know
No.
there's degrees. But like, I think
I was more of a binge drinker,
I think you just really like
which is
to
still
party.
alcoholism.
Yeah, but it is a thing. But I just think you really like.
But
to
I'm not
party.
like in AA or anything. It's much more of a dietary decision, really.
Yeah, like I never came over and like you were like on the floor, naked or something.
Really? Because that's happened.
That's hilarious. And yeah, you definitely
Not
were,
completely naked, but like one St. Patrick's Day, last thing I remember was opening my back door coming back from the parade, and then I saw a bunch of videos the next day of me rolling around shirtless. I had my jeans on, but I get hot, and that shirt has to come off. I can't believe you've never seen more of that footage. We'll save some of that for our OnlyFans.
Yeah, I need that. I need that for my montage that's ongoing.
Yeah, for the OnlyFans that you're working on. Remember, you got to keep working on that OnlyFans.
Yeah, we're gonna teach how to play.
Quit
guitar.
changing the subject. It's been really good for my health, though. It's been really good for my health and for, my control of my life, and it allowed me to start this show. I haven't had alcohol since we started this show.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And this has been weeks and weeks and weeks. It's been since October, I think we started. So,
thanks, alcohol,
thanks.
for being absent. The only thing
I'm
that's
certainly not all better, and I have regiments of other things that are pretty heavy, but I aspire to improve that. But I'm really loving not the hangovers were just not worth it, and and just it was me getting. If you've ever seen me completely wasted, that's a toxic situation. Things get
you're always
misplaced.
climbing out of my car when we're driving.
Yeah, I'll climb right out that motherfucker. I'll climb
You did.
right
You
out.
climbed right out.
Brother, I'll run down the street. I used to do that to my poor friend Ellie when we would get drunk. I would sprint down the street and like away from everybody.
Yeah, you get hella toxic.
So so I like not doing that. It's been great, and just doing it in quarantine didn't seem like that was going to be an option. The first time I got drunk in quarantine, I was like, nah, not today, Satan.
Not today.
I saw someone on Twitter say that we made teaching so inhospitable that even teachers don't care about teaching anymore. And that reminded me of in Pulp Fiction where Samuel L. Jackson says, sewer rat may taste like pumpkin pie, but I'd never know because I won't eat the filthy motherfuckers. Teaching is like that. It could be the most socially or emotionally rewarding job on the planet, But if you make it awful enough, no one's going to want to do it. Blowfish may be absolutely scrumptious, but parts of it are deadly poisonous, so it's not a common indulgence for me or anyone I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's going to get to the point where like actually really seeing the light bulbs come on and building relationships with children and watching them like become good at something that they didn't know how to do is really, really rewarding. It makes you feel like you're being like an important part of society. But if most of the time it looks like half of those kids telling you to go fuck yourself, either literally or with their actions, I mean, I'd like to imagine that these really selfless, passionate, masterful, educated people, usually women, are flooding into the classroom. We demand really high quality teachers, but we're not breeding a whole lot of them. I mean, the more you look at it, the more it's like, okay, do we really trust people that would agree to do this? Do we really? It goes back to that mistrust we have culturally of people that love their jobs. We already think those people are crazy and that they're goofy.
Yeah.
And so and then you apply to this situation. I mean, somebody that's going to agree to do it, knowing how hard it is, especially now. Do we trust that person?
It actually, I saw a guy, you know, that guy who does all the posts about it. He does the videos that they're
The guy that does the videos.
You know who I'm talking about, the sarcastic guy, and he's a teacher, and he does it at his school. It's kind of crazy. I'm like, how are you not fired? But he was talking about how the reason teachers are so like abused as a system is because it was a female-dominated industry, and so like there was just a natural like in society there was just like a natural tendency to just like look down and like he says it was, you know, it's a nurturing job, and just people were so used to like looking down on people like that, like secretaries or like, you know, and so they just gradually just like created a culture where these people are just, there's a lot more expected of them than they are paid for, you know?
Yeah, that's one joke I always had is that people are like, well, teachers don't make enough. And then separately people would be like, well, we have this wage gap between men and women. And I'm like, oh, well, teachers just all get paid like women. So we don't have this pay gap because teachers just make that much less and just all the teachers make the same. So
is that true? Is that true that like, I mean, because I know that
well,
like,
every school I ever worked in there was a pay scale, like a pay schedule. So you started and it was based off your education and your years of service. And so you would start at one place and you would just you just naturally move up. There was no like negotiating or like cost of living increase. It was like you're always moving up this pay scale based off your years with the district or your years of experience, depending on how they did it, and then your years of education. So
at the school you're at now, sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That cup's been empty.
At your school you're at now, though, you know, when I was there, the teachers actually unionized at Grand Center. Fuck.
Yeah, just at the one campus.
And it's because, you know, there were people there that just like showed up and negotiated and it was like a dude, and he like negotiated like a way higher, like double somebody else's salary, and the other person had been working there for like 5 years, and like he just like negotiated the salary, and they were like, what? Like there and it was still more than it was insane. It was like so.
Yeah, we
up.
famously don't have a pay schedule. I can't really talk about it, but normal schools, at least in my experience, do. And so that was part of that thing. So good. Oh. So we've dumped all the negativity.
Dumped.
Let's talk about the exciting stuff that we're working on. You noticed at the top of the show, we heard from my friend Caroline and Buddy. They had been guests on the shows before, but had never performed for us. And so they were one of our first musical guests. We got them in the can last Friday night. Instead of podcasting, I pre-recorded 4 songs and a conversation with them. We're going to play another song and a conversation here in a minute to take us out. But the real pleasure to come is we're going to post all 4 of those performances on our YouTube channel with a lot of the other stuff we're working on. So we have a lot of content in the bag. I think I have it set up over here so that we can look at this. If you're looking at, I have,
Pleasure to come.
Nah, I thought I had my cameras booted up to show people the space. But behind me here, we basically have our own little fucking porn set for musical guests. We have cameras and lights set up on my pool table, and you'll see here in a minute. Hoping to get full bands down here really soon. We have 2 performances we recorded over the weekend. We have another one. We still haven't posted all of the Defeated County stuff because I have that audio we need to sync with that video. Right, this is part of our board meeting that we're also having. So let's write some of this down. You got a pen?
Yeah.
So for the YouTube, we need to make sure that we're going to post all of the Caroline and Buddy clips, 4 separate songs. I need to get the titles.
We already had this in the meeting. You don't need to tell everybody this.
Go ahead, write this down.
Okay.
And then, so that's the 4 performances. We don't need to post the chat. That'll be here for this show.
4 performances.
Yes.
YouTube.
We also have to merge the mastered audio with the video for the Defeated County performance, and I want to post that whole thing on the YouTube channel.
Audio with the what performance?
Defeated County. That was
Defeated
the band
County,
we did with NPR.
Yeah.
And then we have another performance I shot here over the weekend. I have also mixed out audio for. I'll have to send you all of that. But guys, we have tons of irons in the fire. We're going to have musical guests, hopefully every week, or some kind of. We're building an archive here so that we can have that option. Basically, is what I want to say. I'm going to you're going to see me talk to Caroline and Buddy here for a minute about some of the stuff they're working on. They're at 9 Mile Garden once a month, which is like a food truck park just outside of the city on the southern tip in what we call Afton. And if you like a food truck, it's a nice socially distanced option. And I love them playing together. I love their voices together. I love his guitar with her piano style. And so I'm very lucky to have them down here. For that. What?
No, it just sounds like that's where they live. They live in a food truck city.
That's where yeah. And the food trucks are open 24 hours a day, and they
live under the bridge.
They just keep playing. They just play nonstop. Oh my God. I was listening to, so one of my podcast heroes and inspirations in my life is the gay pimp, Johnny McGovern, who used to be just like a gay bar DJ in like, New York, and like, you know, that whole like club scene, like one of those party promoters.
Where's
DJ
their
types.
documentary?
Well, this is part of what I'm talking about. And so I'm on his Patreon, and he had another DJ friend of his, and they were just talking about this whole gay scene in the 90s of dance clubs and shit like that. We have to do a deep dive about, like, apparently Rudy Giuliani made it illegal to dance for a couple of years or something.
Yeah.
Like shit that I'm like,
That's Footloose. That's not real.
no, but it was like, there was like, none of the dance clubs were like, there was, we have to look into this because it was so crazy. I forget why I just brought this up. What were we talking about?
I'm Googling it.
No, but what were we talking about that reminded me of that?
Your podcast hero.
Yes. He just did a whole episode on.
We were talking about how food trucks, or the band lives in a food
Oh,
truck
they were
city.
talking about they used to do these 9-hour DJ sets. Like 9 hours. They were saying that they would go to this club where the party would start at like 10 and they'd play until like noon the next day.
It is believed it was initially enacted in part to discourage interracial mingling at Harlem jazz clubs. Former
What?
Republican Mayor Rudy Giuliani famously enforced
They
the
had
law.
segregated jazz clubs while Rudy Giuliani was even alive.
It was the 1920s ban on dancing in bars.
What does that have
Yeah.
to do with Rudy Giuliani?
Okay. Former Republican Mayor Rudy Giuliani famously enforced the law as part of a
So it's like an old dead law, and he said we're going to enforce it.
controversial quality of life campaign in the 1990s. What the fuck?
That's the whole thing where he cleaned up New York and he sent all the poor people to prison. Are you
Upstate. Serious? That's
Bro,
insane.
this is your assignment. This is your fucking
Dude.
social justice assignment for next week, is figure out how Rudy Giuliani was a rat bastard and how cleaning up New York was actually probably really problematic racially and socioeconomically.
Well, you know what's funny though is this is the same time that new disco dance scene started happening with the white people. So like all the like indie trust fund kids, like LCD Sound System started like starting up in like the mid to late
That's
90s.
That's what always bothered me about that band is how much that guy loves New York and
Yeah.
how he loves how expensive it is and he loves being pretentious. I'm like, what are we talking about?
Like it's kind of like,
Because I love their music and I've seen them live and they're great, but it's also like
yeah, it's
this
like really
this
weird.
interview too was kind of like that. It was very much like you know, everything was like, well, and then we did New Year's Eve in Soho and we were doing this 9-hour rave in a warehouse in Brooklyn and I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like as somebody from the Midwest, I'm just like all the like, and that's what bothered me about podcasts when we first started this, and we talked about just the LA like podcasting. I'm like, this is like 10 people. They're all friends,
Yeah.
and they tell the same jokes on each other's shows, and we're supposed to just buy the Manscaped and the and the Ridge wallet and act like everything's okay. It's like I'm bored.
Yeah.
I'm bored
It
with
is.
it. Oh well,
They
I
all
was
have
at
the same ads.
I was at Boa Steakhouse. I'll kill you. How about I kill everybody? How about that?
Yeah, they talk. I was in Nashville, and this guy was playing at Margaritaville, and that was his biggest audience ever. And he was talking. He was up on stage, like having a moment in front of like a bunch of drunk, like Alabama college kids. Like,
Yeah,
he was
that's
like,
sad when you see that. We're like, this is the biggest
"This is the
performance of
biggest
my
show.
life, and then
We
someone's like,
traveled."
"Shut up!"
Yeah, right. Like he's like, we traveled here from Michigan. And I'm like, and we were just there randomly. You know, if I'm there randomly, that it's not.
It's
like,
not good.
yeah,
That
it's
scene
not
is
good.
not happening. It's like
Yeah.
you were in your spillover from the boot store next door.
Yeah, exactly.
You were getting fitted for some Stetson boots, and then
Yeah.
you said, "Oh, what's going on in here? I heard they got meat pies." And then the guy's like, "This is the biggest deal of my
Dude,
life." And then there's a sorority in there, and they're like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and everybody's plastered and like but I specifically remember the like pain on like all of those waitresses and waiters that work down there. I mean, there's no uniform. They just are like they wear these rags. And they just are
Rags.
like, "Hi, welcome to Margaritaville. We're out of everything here. Want a margarita?" Like they're like so tired.
That's hard when it's a place like that and they're out of stuff. Like there's a couple bars in town like this that are barely holding up, but like also in New Orleans it's common. Like you go to a place and it's like, is this place even open?
Yeah.
Like it's like it's not decorated. There's no extra anything. There's no napkins on the tables. There may not even be tables.
Yeah.
It reminds me of we called it Crack House when I used to play Counter-Strike. But Crack House is
I
just like
miss
a
Crack House.
like a shitty empty map that was really small and you'd fit like 2 giant teams in it. It would just be crazy. That's why we called it Crack House. But it's like you probably never went with me to Cusimano's,
No.
but like no decor, no real aesthetic. You're lucky if there's furniture and a lot of like shit's all boarded up. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's what's kind of funny is like, and the same thing is happening at downtown Nashville. Like they have this random record store that's like, it's not even good records. It's like all Goodwill records. And there's like 5 of them. There's not a whole lot of them. And there's like no place to sift through. And it's like the whole place is made just to be packed because it's not about what they're selling. It's about the decoration is the number of people that are supposed to be there, you know? Like that's,
Yeah.
that's so dumb.
That's my favorite. So let's go ahead and let's get to this segment with Caroline and Buddy, and then you want to wrap up the show afterwards?
By myself?
No, you and me together. I was
yeah,
just wondering
let's
if
do
that
it.
would be okay with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so let's press on.
Bruising the night up, shaking your fist at the stars. Using the light up, recovering from working the bar. Just to blow off steam from the people that you poured all those drinks. Sunday comes, you wake up and give the whiskey back to the sink. You never wanted it to stay like this, Charlie. You never wanted it to stay like this. It was just a good night. Can't be good time, Charlie's all the time. Can't be good time, Charlie's all the time. one can do it quite like you do. You're breaking your own heart so no one else has the chance to. And babe, I've lived my share of shame and disrepair. Is it unfair to sometimes question if you care? I always thought that we'd grow out of this, Charlie. I always thought that we'd grow out of this, try as we might. Can't be good time Charlies all the time. Can't be good time Charlies all the time. Drinking your wine up and telling you a secret or two. Putting your guard up while my wrists are out for you. And as the bottle drains, the tears fall from my face. At least I'm offering some liquid to replace. Never wanted just to break like this, Charlie. I never wanted just to break like this. I put up a good fight, Charlie. I'll be swinging the whole time, Charlie. I've been swinging. I'm not leaving, the phrase we keep repeating. I'm not leaving, the phrase we keep repeating. I'm not leaving, the phrase we keep repeating. Oh, you say it like you mean it, I wanna believe it. I never thought I'd be in love like this, Charlie. I never thought I'd be in love like this. I put up a good fight, Charlie. I've been swinging the whole time. Can't be good time Charlies all the time.
That's a bop. That's a motherfucking bop. Little leg action, wine out the bottle. I mean,
Thank you.
no, I really like that one. So, talk to me just casually here for a second about what you guys are necessarily promoting, because I know it's just so different now than it was pre-COVID as far as sharing, the art you guys work on either together or separately. So I know it's a different experience now.
It has been kind of like a vague effort, I guess you could say. Because, like, right now, all we're really promoting, if anything, is just these 9 Mile Garden gigs. We're there every month through November, and those are 2 and 3 hour sets. So that's kind of provided a cool impetus for working together and learning each other's material and learning covers and, like, establishing a little bit of a musical rapport.
And I don't want to do one necessarily, but what kind of covers are you pulling from just stylistically?
A lot of 90s R&B.
He thinks that.
It's like all 90s R&B.
It's not. It's a handful of those. Like, we got some TLC.
Like what?
Unpretty.
Great. Oh, yeah.
And what else? We got some Christina Aguilera in there.
Which one?
Genie in a Bottle.
Oh, that's a good one. It's like when you do that in G minor.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's gangster
That's
shit.
real fun. And then we do Donna Lewis, I Love You Always Forever.
Sure.
So I wouldn't say that's R&B, but it's like 90s pop for sure.
Oh, that's fun.
And then we got, some 2000s like Strokes.
And so you get to work some original material into those
that's
longer
kinda where we're
sets.
at right now,
That's
is
really
like-
fun. That's really great. Because that's an outdoor thing too. So it's not like there's a dance floor and it's not like you're working like a party. It's like
We got a lot of kids dancing.
yeah. It's family, but it's like a family thing. It's like you could kind of. The music is kind of the entertainment, not so much like the sing along.
Yeah, I don't want
It's
to
background noise.
I don't want to cater so specifically just for my own sake, but I also
Well, just the
do want
context
to
is
just so I'm
different, I
not
think.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think the context is just different now too. So that sounds like a positive thing. So
I think if I can jump
please.
back in, like
Yeah.
what I kind of think, like, so what are we doing? What it's kind of turned out to be is it's kind of like we're sort of supporting each other in figuring out what our incoming projects are going to be, like by playing each other's material. Like, we both want to start bands again, like when COVID starts, and like we're probably going to be in each other's bands and all that stuff. So it's just kind of been like a pushing off point to kind of keep it moving while we're in this weird time.
Right.
Does that
It's
kinda
been a
make sense?
nice, it's been a nice segue into what is to come, to like be in like a nice, safe environment that we can kind of experiment within and not feel like we have a lot of parameters that we have to adhere to.
Yeah, I love that. I love a lot of that. I love a lot of how that feels.
This is for you that we're doing it.
And
so I'm glad.
no, well, because Caroline, I've been telling you this for years, and that's really what you need like to have like a band of people that are kind of also doing a similar thing that you're doing, and that writing songs kind of around your instrument and kind of trying to.
Yeah, and it's been hard to like figure out how am I going to establish my vocabulary and my language around that to communicate it, because I identify more as a songwriter than I do as like an instrumentalist or a musician.
Well, and that's the thing, is like you feel like there's a barrier there to working with musicians on a professional level.
Yeah.
And so you would be most comfortable. I think you could navigate it just fine, but just for your own comfort.
Navigate it just fine.
People are saying comfortability now, and it's not a fucking word. It's comfort. But you're saying that for your own comfort, you'd like to have someone to kind of navigate some of that communication for you.
Yeah, it's
Or
nice.
with you.
It's nice to have with and for,
Yeah.
like
And of and betwixt.
all of those flavor of words. But yeah, it's gotten better as I've done more of it, but like it's been kind of a blessing to have Buddy with me through this, because like I don't want to be interacting with like anyone and everyone right now, and so like Tight, my boyfriend's a musician, I get to work that shit out with him.
Yeah.
She's been doing the cool thing where she's pushing me to finally make my own music again, because I've just been playing for everybody else for the past little bit.
Right.
That'll kill you.
Well, and it's just not an option right now as much like it was. Like you used to just be able to fill your schedule with that, whereas it's just the opportunities just weren't there to be as busy. So it's kind of, you have more time maybe to create.
Mm-hmm. Except I didn't create shit during like COVID. I just slept and drank.
Yeah.
But now that that's starting to kind of get better, it's a little easier to focus again.
Yeah.
I made a lot of like 70%ers, and then I've just been like fumbling around on guitar.
Dude, 70 sounds high. If I can get like two parts together that are anything, I mean, yeah, that's my thing too. It's like I could just order Postmates and watch The Mandalorian.
So seductive.
You know what I mean? Just put me in my goo pod. Just turn me over. Once I get my second half of my vaccine, that's it. I'm going to just lay in the tub.
You're going to wanna.
That's what I'm saying. So guys, are you so you're still kind of in a stage where you're realizing material. You're not necessarily like producing a lot of it to publish yet.
Not just yet. Yeah, that's the story of my life.
That's
It's
great.
Like just writing and getting out to gigs, and then like maybe getting like a voice memo to like send to somebody and be like, eh.
It's getting closer though. Like, I mean, we're talking
on
to
the
people.
horizon.
You know, we're talking
That's
to Joe.
my
Like,
thing.
I
My big thing is I always want to tell people they have to do that. I really love for you guys to have something on record that you guys were like crafting to share with people, just because I think that it's so fun to document these periods of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And I'm still playing with Joe. Like, he comes around and hangs with us too. And like, we're still working on getting stuff together.
That's awesome.
For our audience, Joe is Joe's idea.
Joe's idea.
And
Bassist.
he plays bass, and he has a
Mutual friend of Jake.
yes,
Yeah,
mutual
handsome
friend of
dude.
the pod.
Gifted, very gifted, psychotic Ukrainian. Yeah, I mean, and then you guys just get a good like a drum machine, and you guys are there,
Oh yeah, I fucks with a drum machine.
or whatever,
In my
or a
mind,
human
anyway.
person to play a drum, even.
Yeah,
Heaven
either
forbid.
or, maybe both. You
Do
know?
they do? They don't do full band really at the 9 Mile. It's more of a encourage like a halfy kind
Yeah,
of
I
strip
mean,
down.
Busting out a
they do
cajon.
full band, but
Some
the
cajon
full
would be
band that
nice.
I've like noticed there has been mostly just like folky bluegrassy stuff. So
So that's good to keep in mind.
I just don't think they have full band budget maybe at this point. But I might fuck around
We
and
can get
bring him a
some-
full band anyway.
Oh, I'll light it up. Don't get me out there.
Ooh, you better.
You guys are good on songs.
Good on songs. I got some stuff to plug though.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So where should I send people when we put this out? This will be clipped to the end of our next episode of Jacob V Weekly, which will be out this weekend, I hope. And
Love that.
and so anything that you guys want to send people to, I absolutely want to share the platform for anything you guys may be working on or want to share with people.
Sure. So while Buddy's pulling stuff up, I'll say my Facebook page is just Caroline because I think I'm a diva. One name.
No, who did those photos with you? I love that.
Gabrielle Blanton.
Yeah. Bless up.
Her Instagram is Gabtron Media.
.gov.
She does some really good work. And my friend Derek Robertson styled it. He did my hair and makeup and
Yeah, great
helped
stuff. Great
pose
work
me,
there.
etc. But yeah, my Facebook page is Caroline, and then it's like Caroline Steinkamp Music for the handle. And then my Instagram is It's Only Dress Up. And we are going to be playing at 9 Mile Garden on the 21st of April. And some other dates too. but-
April 21st, and that's here
April 21st.
locally in St. Louis, just
Yeah,
outside
it's
the
in
city in the
Afton.
Afton area. I think most of our listenership is St. Louis. I feel comfortable promoting that locally. We do have a guy in Sweden that you know what we'll have to just live stream.
We'll be
it
in
for him.
Sweden next year.
Do you know him? It's one of my dreams to go to Sweden.
No, I mean, how does anyone know anyone anymore? Actually, because of the recent scandal and my shakeups online, I may have lost communication with him entirely. I hope he's okay. Bless up.
Bless
up.
friend in Sweden.
Bless up, Sweden friend.
I got two things. March 28th, Cara Louise's thing with Sinkhole is coming out. The I Watched music on the internet. I play keyboards for that.
Yeah, live stream. Yeah, is
Yep.
Chris Keith working on those?
I don't know, but that sounds like it's a possibility. Also, the return of Tiger Rider is April 17th at Lucas Schoolhouse, and we will be featuring Seth Donnelly on the drums.
Tight.
It's
It's going to be awesome.
Schoolhouse.
Yep. So look for that. There are going to be some of those other cool bands too. Mammoth Piano, Jesus Christ Supercar, some other people.
Oh, Mammoth Piano.
Stir Flag that.
I love all those bands.
Yeah, that
That's going
sounds
to be
really,
really
really
special.
fun.
Is that going to
I will
be
be
a live
there.
stream thing too?
It should be live streamed and actual live in person.
Both. I think I'm doing one of those next weekend at Red Flag. I think that's hybrid like that.
Oh, nice. Who are you doing that with?
Yeah, Ground Control.
Sweet.
That's the band I bought that keyboard to play with. They're really cool. We'll talk about them. They're going to be on this show soon.
Okay.
So-
Can't wait to hear more about that.
Guys, I love that you guys were here. I'm so glad to introduce you guys more in depth to my audience and to share some of the reason why I wanted to talk to you guys several weeks ago when you were on the show before. So this has been so great for me. Also, it just sounds so good down here, and so I appreciate you making that happen.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
You
I
guys
can't
sound
wait
good, is what I
to see
mean.
what
I
you
mean,
do.
I don't mean that it would
You
just sound
sound
good.
good. You look good.
Thanks, guys.
I'm
I
glad
look
that there's
like
a
I'm
pool
looking at
table
myself right
between
here. I
us
look
right
like
now.
I feel like
For the
Kramer with
listeners,
this
just so you
jacket.
know, Jacob V looks really good right now.
Yeah.
I'm right here on the. I look like I look like Kramer with this jacket. It's awful.
It's good.
It's good.
All right, I'm gonna wrap that up, guys. We are gonna post all 4 of those tracks from Buddy and Caroline down here Friday night on our YouTube channel. By the time the week is out, look forward to those. They're already looking really good. That's another episode of Jacob V Weekly. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Google, whatever. Last week's episode was playing weird on Apple Podcasts on the phone version. If you're playing Apple Podcasts on your desktop, it was fine, but let me know directly if you're having any of those issues. We also have a Instagram. The Nigerians have not taken the Instagrams. And at Jacob V Weekly, where we post exclusive content and clips and highlights. And I make cross-post TikToks and funny memes. Sometimes you'll see pictures of my guitar gear or my dogs or my lunch. You can follow me on Twitter Twitter at Malachi Envy. We curate a monthly Spotify playlist. We have one for March. It's really good. Jacob V's favorite songs on Spotify. We did it, guys. Be safe.